one of the things about Sunan Ibn Majah is that just something being in this collection pretty much guarantees its soundness. I can't think of anything per se that has, struck me so far, other than the fact that some narrations need some context to understand. To form the collection, he went to Damascus, Homs, Egypt, Isfahan, Ashkelon, which is now southwest Palestine or southwest Israel. Really called Palestine is not a good term for it, because, that's elsewhere. Nishapur, and no, I'm not saying that the state of Israel is not an invasion and wrongfully annexed or something. He learned from those in Mecca and Medina and Baghdad and Khorasan and Iraq and Hijaz and Egypt and Sham and obviously some places in between. Narration 428 reminds us that a proper ablution, or full bath when one needs it, of course, difficulty, the number of steps going towards the place of prayer, the ritual prayer, a masala or a masjid, as they would be called usually, and the waiting for the prayer, are expiation of sins. Of course, there's no excuse to make people wait. Let me finish this bite and clean up. Not, I have 10 more minutes or half an hour or something left. People should be able to stop most tasks. There are tasks that people can't, but very seldom is this why people are delaying. Narration 434 doesn't say that it's required to rinse out the mouth and nose, but, there's certainly benefit to that. Of course, if you're fasting, you got to be careful of, not taking it too deep. Don't use those inhalers or whatever. Don't let it reach your throat or whatever. When you breathe in the rain or something, that's different. But otherwise, it's preferable to wipe over everything thrice, except, the head once. But for some, that means, to the back of your neck and then over again, to straighten your hair at the very least. And then you finish with the feet. But hands, face, arms, head, and feet was the order in that narration. Narration 447 reminds us of the importance of when you perform the ablutions to, make sure that water goes between your fingers and your toes. And 452 is, there's similar narrations to this where Muhammad said, "Woe to the Achilles tendon." Well, they didn't call it that, but that string, you could say, but above the ankle or something from the hellfire. Because you wash to your feet to the ankles, and so you're naturally wiping behind that. The spaces intentionally or knowingly left out of the ablutions are to the hellfire, you could say. Narration 461 talks about when a person's washing up that, obviously you got the privacy, to sprinkle water over your private areas. The basic the pelvis area. When you get ablutions, and at the very least, it's something that will remove the doubts. Now, I'm not saying that a person's going to wander around like, some of these things are, it doesn't mean you can't dry off if that's a thing of the climate that you're not going to dry off naturally. Narration 470. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadar abduhu wa rasuluhu. I mean, Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu. I think I mispronounced it, but when a person does this after a well-performed ablution, 8 gates of paradise are open for the servant, slave, devotee of God, and they can pass through what they want. I testify that there's nothing worth worshiping except the singular and definitive God. Wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu, and witness that certainly Muhammad is the servant and messenger of him. And narration 498 gives a reason for rinsing one's mouth out after drinking milk as the fat in it, so you think that it's a preferable practice that after you consume anything with fat that you should rinse out your mouth. Narration 491 relates an incident where some sheep was brought out, a cooked shoulder, and Muhammad ate of it and didn't touch water again before leading the next prayer. And the next narration talks about mush eaten between late afternoon and evening prayers. And so basically, you don't have to get ablutions after eating or even rinse one's mouth. It's just, it's a preferred thing. A good example, as it would be called. Narration 412 indicates that Muhammad, during the Battle of Tabuk, performed ablution going over everything only once. Now, one of the things that we can say here is I'm throwing some comments in. I'm not really reading you the narrations, although the Arabic is, of course, not under subject of copyright, except the picture of which page in the book. 407's about the don't rinse your nose during fasting, otherwise